take off their clothes and throw beads. Welcome to the Beat Around the Bench podcast. Podcast about woodworking, good times, and general jackassery. With your hosts, Jess of Jess Build It, Colton of Cold Crit, and Ross of R&C Woodworking and Design. You can find us all on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. In this week's episode, we go all out on jackassery. Jess takes us on a wild ride in rapid-fire questions. Colton tells us about his sagging ball. And Ross delivers his massive console. All of that and more is coming right up on this episode of the Beat Around the Bench podcast. Now for episode 85, how Stella got her giant Chinquapin back.
Okay, so we got to talk about this for a second. I didn't want to look it up. What is Chinquapin? Is that a wood?
Yes.
How can I not know what Chinquapin is?
You've never been to Home Depot and seen the Chinquapins?
It is an exotic wood. I went on the wood database. So I literally, every time I'm doing this.
How you spelled it?
So on the wood database, it's spelled the way I spelled it on here. But when you put it into Google, it's actually spelled CHINQUAPIN.
QU. Okay.
APIN.
Spelled again. CHIN.
There's a Chinquapin preparatory school.
CHINQUAPIN.
Oh, a type of oak?
APIN. Yes. I always pull my wood species for these titles from the wood database.
Dude, for such a crazy name, you think it...
Well, this one says Chinquapin.
And I did giant Chinquapin.
It's spelled. Scientific name, Cryosolepsis cryosophilia.
I mean, who doesn't know cryosophilia? Let's be honest.
Formerly it was Canstanopsis chrysophylla.
And then it was Istanbul, and then
Pacific
Constantinople.
region of the United States, trunk diameter, average dried weight 37 pounds, tree size 65 to 100 feet tall, 3 to 4 foot trunk diameter, 730, so it's like just under
walnut.
Pine. Shrinkage radial 4.6%.
It was cold in the pool.
Tangential 7, volumetric 13.
Don't talk about its tangentals. It's too early.
Heartwood and...
This is PG, Jess. Come on, man.
Why do I not know? I mean, it looks like...
The look of it's kind of nuts.
It kind of looks like ash.
Nuts.
It kind of looks like ash. So, I'm sorry. I have never heard of it. I've never came across it. I did it's so soft. That's what she said. Okay.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Hey, but speaking of, you mentioned balls.
This is going to be a fun transition. Go ahead.
My Christmas ball.
Oh, okay.
My Christmas ball. I got an update on that. So, so we constructed it from, I cut like a 5.1 and an 1/8 inch tall, or 5 foot, 1 inch, whatever, tall 4x4, and then ran 8 ribbons around it of 1 foot wide, 1/4 inch plywood.
Yes.
Okay. Right? And then we painted it white with an exterior paint, and I ran lights all around it.
Ooh. And
we have it hung up way high in a tree now. And it was doing pretty good. It is a prototype. But it's starting to sag, right? Like there's nothing supporting that.
Are you
trying
plywood. To say that as it's been up there a little longer, you're getting saggy balls?
Yes.
Dude,
it started. I never thought of it like that. But it's starting to be like our great Christmas pumpkin. It looks more like that. But it is cool to have a giant 5 foot diameter thing.
Did you paint
we live right on an intersection. The what?
Did you paint the interior?
Yes. Okay. Yes, and that helped a lot. Because the lights around it kind of create a glow inside. And so it's kind of neat. Like several blocks away, you can see it all the way down.
That's fun.
And like our Christmas, our neighborhood's a Christmas neighborhood. It gets pretty nuts. Like the other day, I spent about 20 minutes, maybe more. It's like in traffic waiting. I could see my home, but we're just going one car length at a time. And it was on the big Night of Lights competition.
Did you win?
For the neighborhood. The what?
Did you win?
No, I wasn't even set up really. I finished
typical Cold
more set up after, which I mean, you gotta be dropping some dollars to win out here. I know I could win it. Like if I just had a solid week to commit, I could win this thing. But or at least one of them, I'd pinpoint one. I probably, if I was gonna try to win like a maple leaf, which is what these are, whatever, I would go for the lamppost. Think I could create a really crazy that or the mailbox. Like one year, the winner did pretty cool thing. He had like he built like a Christmas like cannon on top, and it like shot smoke rings out of it.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Like,
people go
well done.
nuts. But my idea for the mailbox one was to do all out of wood and resin, and kind of a similar thing with like the stained glass kind of resin concept
Yeah.
and LEDs inside, but an animatronic Santa Claus. By animatronic, I mean he like swings his arm or something, like one motor. But that was my crazy idea. But I don't know. I doubt that'll ever happen. But I did get to make a big Christmas ball because Crystal loves Christmas balls. That's a tongue twister. Crystal loves Christmas balls. But yeah,
I had a friend that was obsessed with dipping his testicles in glitter. It was pretty nuts.
it's
Yeah.
pretty nuts. Speaking of,
Actually, I went to
awesome
buy some
jokes.
camouflage pants today. And
Couldn't find them.
Today we're going to bring things a little bit off the rail. We felt we've gotten a little too serious and haven't had enough jackassery.
yeah,
Oh.
I mean it's in the name. It's on the shirts.
It is general jackassery
We have to fit
That's right.
2024 years worth of Jackassery
into an
into
episode.
one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode, we're going to bring you an ultra dose of jackassery. So buckle up, kids. This is going to be a good one.
Ross,
Yes.
so you got some dad jokes up your sleeve, huh?
I got a couple dad jokes up the sleeve.
I got a couple up mine too, buddy.
Okay.
I challenge you.
What do you call a snowman with a six pack?
What?
An abdominal snowman.
Oh, what's the difference between snowmen and snow women?
What's that?
What?
Snowballs. Oh, what's the difference between Tiger Woods and Santa Claus?
What?
Santa stopped at 3 hoes. Oh!
So a bear walks into a bar and he walks up to the bartender. He's like, "I'd like a rum and Coke." And the bartender's like, "I'm happy to serve you, but what's with the long pause?" And he holds up his hands. He's like, "Oh, I've had these my whole life."
So I do have a joke that was my dad's favorite joke, and I've told it. I probably haven't told it in. This isn't like a joke up to a joke. Like 15 years.
Okay.
I don't know why my
Mhm.
dad thought it was so funny, but you know how like somebody will tell you a joke
Earl
in a
is
specific place in a
Yeah.
specific time, and it just made it so funny. Like you were drinking beer with the guys, and this guy with red hair said it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
This Irish guy, and so we'll tell that a little bit later. It's got some curse words.
Oh, later.
I'll
Okay.
have to bleep it, but
Whenever it goes rated R. Yeah.
I do have one about wood. I
Okay.
got one about toothbrushes that I've had in my pocket for many, many years, and I'm excited to tell them. So,
Are you going to tell him?
no, not right now. We got lots to do.
Well, Jess,
Got a
did
lot
you
of stuff
know
to do.
that the average kangaroo in Australia can jump higher than a 1-story American house?
Yeah.
Yeah, houses don't jump, dumbass. Woo!
You know did you know why the golfer always wears 2 pairs of pants?
He had a hole in one.
In case he gets a hole.
How come you never see elephants hiding in trees?
They're bigger than trees.
No, they're really good at it. Why do elephants
man.
paint their testicles red?
That
So they look like cherries.
very funny.
What's
funny.
the loudest noise in the jungle? A giraffe eating cherries.
What's Forrest Gump's password? Forrest 1.
There you go.
1 Forrest 1.
Okay, so to our listeners, I know that you guys listen to us, have guests on, and we do like that rapid fire thing, like just this irreverent, which is my favorite thing. No reason for it. Questions, right? Some of it might have to do with woodworking. Some of it have to do with and they're just fun. It's just to like kind of like get your brain going. You know what I mean? Like there's like a little line drawing. What do you see in this picture kind of deal,
Mhm.
just to get people answering questions. So I have probably a couple hundred of them, and I have 3 sections. And
Nice.
I thought tonight that we would all actually talk deeply about these questions.
Deeply.
Deeply. And so I'm going to give each of you 3 of the questions. No, actually, we got 2. So I'm going to give it. We're going to go over like the next like 6 questions,
Okay.
and then we're going to decide which set of questions you like better from that row. And those are the set of questions we're going to go over. We'll go over like until Ross gets tired of them. I'm sure he'll do
Sure.
some dad jokes in the middle of it. If you guys feel like that's cool.
Yeah.
Get her done.
All right, so let's see if you like these questions. All right.
Question 1.
Toilet paper over or under? You guys have heard that many times.
We have to reword that question.
You don't have to answer
No,
it.
Everyone thinks it's the direction of the wipe. You're talking about the
It could-
direction of the toilet paper.
That's the see, this is exactly what we're talking
Makes it
about.
uncomfortable.
Okay.
I don't want
Toilet paper over or under? These are the questions. Don't answer them.
rub it on the rug.
Pancakes or waffles?
Okay.
And then I'll skip. If you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be? That's section 1. Okay. Set of questions 1. Set of questions 2.
Okay.
What is your favorite finish? What's the best Wi-Fi name you've ever seen? And if you could swap lives with a fruit, which fruit would it be? Okay. Section 2.
Okay.
And then the OG.
Section 3.
OG. Who would win a fight between a basset hound and a koala bear? What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you in a workshop? And what wood-themed superhero would you create?
Ooh.
All right. So out of those 3 sets that I just gave you, which set of questions do you think is maybe going to lead to where we want to have a deep dive and argue over stupid stuff? I didn't do it.
Basset Hound. Section 3.
You
Yeah.
like it? You
I'm
the
with
basset
Colton.
and the koala? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that OG was the best. All right. So I'm not going to go any farther. If you guys like continue, or do you guys want to talk about a little bit like what's going on? Because I'm pretty sure Ross has got something that happened today.
You know what? Let's do some rapid fire, then we'll jump into that.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. All right. I want to start with Colton because Colton, I feel like he's on fire today. Old St. Chris. All right.
Yeah.
So let's. What's the question? Who would win a fight with basset hound? You know what a basset hound looks like, right? Or a koala bear?
I gotta say, it'd be the Basset Hound.
So no, but who? What are you fighting? Are like they fighting each other, or are they fighting something else? Are you fighting it?
Oh, they're fighting each other.
Oh, they're fighting each other.
Yeah, they're fighting each other. Like, I feel like this is one of those things, like kind of like the praying mantis. Like they say that the female always eats the male after
Correct.
mating. However, there is a controversy with that because that's in captivity where the male can be caught, whereas in nature more often he can get away.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if these two met in nature and didn't like each other, the koala bear could get away. However, put them in a cage, that basset hound would
Still
grab
not
and
get
shake.
Get scratched up.
I think he would grab and shake. He'd be scratched up. But
Well, so here's the issue. Koala bears sleep like 20 hours a day.
Yeah, real slow metabolism.
Yes. And they typically sleep up pretty high in the eucalyptus trees. Okay.
All right.
So if they were to meet in nature, chances are the koala would just be asleep and the basset would be like 3 inches from the ground and the koala's up a tree and they're never really going to meet. If they were to meet in like snout to snout combat, I feel like the koala can be much more vicious because it's pretty spry when it wants to be.
I mean, it's strong. Yeah. It's strong.
Yeah, it's got claws.
Yeah.
However, a basset hound's a hunting dog. But
koalas have chlamydia. Like they can pass that off.
I was trying to think of the STD they had.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could be a strategy from the koala to attack the or like to transmit the chlamydia and then climb up the cage and stay there until
like 6 months.
Chlamydia works or does the job.
Okay. See, my thing is that like a koala bear is
not a bear; it's a marsupial.
Well, it's true. isn't true.
Mhm.
It's got the pouch thing. But
Mhm.
I think that a koala. I like Colton's idea about like they're never gonna meet, and then like and Ross's idea like if you were in a cage, right? Two are snout
Mhm.
to snout, what's gonna happen? But I think the koala's biggest thing is to flee because
Yeah.
it really doesn't have too many predators. So
No.
I think the basset hound. I think the basset hound's gonna take it.
So the question that's going to even the odds here: how old are each of the animals? Because if it's an older basset hound or an older
One
koala,
year. They're both 1 year old.
okay, so they're coming into maturity here as far as predatory reflexes would go. So with that in mind, if the basset hound was able to get a quick mouth on a koala, it could shake it and tear off a limb, and then it's over for the koala.
The
But
neck, yeah.
Ooh.
if the koala were to swipe with the claws and tear an ear or the snout, there's not a
But
whole
that-
lot the basset can do.
Yeah, it depends.
I'll
What if the
back.
basset hound
the
was
basset hound
stressed?
has all that loose skin.
Yeah.
That loose skin's like protection. Like, yeah, let it get ripped up.
What
but
if the
it's,
basset hound was dressed like a eucalyptus leaf?
Ooh, then it's over.
Yeah, and then what if the koala bear was dressed like a quail?
Doesn't eucalyptus get koala bears kind of high too?
Yeah.
There's some sort of like
Oh,
cerebral
yeah,
effect or
I
something.
think so.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In a fun side twist from this, every year in Illinois, in the town of Dwight, Illinois, and I only know this because I drive back and forth past it when I have to go to Springfield, Illinois. There is the annual Basset Waddle, which is an annual race
Huh.
where people bring their Basset hounds, and there's like 100 Basset hounds that race in this course in Dwight, Illinois. So
Yeah.
you see like 100, like 3-inch tall dogs or 3 inches
Right.
from the ground, all trying to run at the same time, and all the loose skin and ears and everything. It's hilarious.
They do something like that annually here in Houston at the horse track. They do a corgi race.
Ooh,
Yeah, there's the corgi races. Kinda
that's
funny.
fun.
So what did we decide? 2 out of 3 here.
I'm going basset hound.
Going
Got it.
basset.
I'm gonna go koala, but just to be different. So 2 out of 3,
Okay.
Yeah,
the Basset
not too
Hound is
bad.
winning that.
Okay, very good. All right, so interestingly, I think this is one we should really talk about.
Okay.
In this one, and the question is, if you were a wood, what wood of type would you be and why? So I know what Ross would be. I know what I would be, because I would be white oak because it's tried, it's true. You can get it anywhere. Like
It's a little expensive, but it's
it is
durable.
now. This is true. It is a little expensive now. It is durable, but like you can stain it. You can get it shiny. You can get it dull. It looks good. You can put oil on it. You can. I mean, all the different things. Like white oak has been going along. I'm all about consistency. It's very consistent.
Okay,
White oak
that's-
has always been white oak.
Mhm.
Always been white
That's
oak.
what
It
I
always
was gonna
looks the
say.
same
Why
for
white oak
years.
fits you? Yeah, yeah.
Colton, what are you going with?
Man, so I had said when I had this question many moons ago,
I think you said mahogany.
I think I said black walnut.
Oh yeah, black walnut. That was it.
Just because there's all different kind of colors and
Such a maker thing to say.
it's sporadic, right? I think I even let off with that. However,
It is pretty.
Man, Ross, do you have yours?
I know what Ross would be. Can I guess? Before
Sure.
you say it? I
What would you
think
be?
I think Ross would be
Ah,
I think
You would-
Ross would be
you would-
like super strong, like ultra resilient, rock hard, kind of hard to deal with a little bit.
sometimes a
one
pain in
day.
the ass.
Yeah.
Sometimes a pain in the ass. but,
Smells
when
like
you
a
get
dusty
it,
fart.
That smells like a dusty fart, absolutely. But like once you get it to do what it's going to do,
I
it's
tell
gonna
you what.
last forever. It's like quality. Like,
Yeah, you build a deck out of it.
Like
Mother,
yeah, you
father,
just
you got a
like
deck.
you could it's for your kids. Like it's
Yeah.
just going to need some sanding and oil for the rest of it.
So I actually was going to say white oak for similar reasons to you, because you can dress it up, and you can also make whiskey out of it,
Oh,
or
Ah,
out of
there
the
you go.
barrels.
yeah.
But Ipe would be a close second for me.
White oak's a good wood, isn't it?
It is.
And it
You can
doesn't-
timber
it's like-
frame with it.
and
You
it
can
doesn't
do
like,
barrels.
and you don't have to feel bad about cutting it down. It grows fast enough.
No.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
Yeah. So Colton,
Oh, so while
did you want
Colton's
to
thinking,
update?
Okay,
can I tell
y'all.
you a story
I want
before
y'all to
Colton
pick mine.
talks? I want Colton to wait a second. I want
Okay.
to tell you a story what happened to me today. So we're working on a job. One of the guys that we got the job, like it's working. He doesn't work for us, but he's like kind of how we got the job. He's a long friend, and he said, "I have to go stain some wood today." And I said, "Oh yeah." And I said, "What are you going to stain it?" He said, "Like they want it darker." And he said, "I think it's called Zabelli." And I said, "You're going to stain Sapelli?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Sapelli." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, we're standing in front of my truck, like doing this stare. And he's like, "What did I do wrong?" And I was like, "Okay." So Sapelli's supposed to look like mahogany. It's kind of like a knockoff of mahogany. It grows a little
Mhm.
faster, and all that stuff. But you don't stain
Sapele.
like
You oil it.
you like that's like saying you're gonna stain mahogany.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like,
so
why would you pick mahogany? And so we went round and round, and they basically wanted kind of a black color. And I said, well, maybe water down some paint and give it a wash. That it will look nice. And then you can kind of sand it back through, and you'll see the
or tone it
Sapelli and the
really.
black. Yeah, or a dye. Well, I didn't want to get into the dyes and stuff. And so we kind of left it at that. But like, it was like this. You're gonna stain Sapelli because Sapelli. I mean, it's still expensive. I mean, it's still
Yeah, I mean,
$8-9 a board foot for Sapelli. It was a door.
I think I get it for less in Houston,
Do
but
you?
I've changed my opinion on staining stuff a lot. Like, we did that. I talked about it on here a good bit. The really high end table, right? It had some really cool marquetry, and they wanted it really dark, and it was also just like beautiful. Like had like a bunch of olive burl, and they wanted it really dark. And at first, I was like, no, it was just painful. Like because we stripped it down to nothing, right? And we saw all the natural colors of the wood and all this, and it's like, all right, here we go. And we put on it was mostly toner, a little bit of stain. And I was like, crap, you can't see Jack. And then we added a lot of really high gloss lacquer. And man, it looked really good. And it was a much more subtle good. And so I think especially if they're going black tones, I almost encourage it. Like use the Sapelli. I mean, don't do like an African mahogany,
So
in my opinion.
here's my
But
thought. Just
but
like
it
with all
yeah,
the
I
problems we
say
just had,
yeah.
like sand in the maple. Like Sapelli's even harder than that. Like I doubt they sanded it properly to get it to where you're not going to have like pigtails and stuff.
Mhm.
And that's what really bothered me more than anything. And I said, why don't you just see if you can just give it a little wash, just to make it a little grayer, get it down in the grain,
I
and
think
then
that's a
all
good
that.
suggestion.
Yeah, I was like, you can always sand the paint back off. Like it comes right back off if you want.
Mhm.
But like using like some aniline dyes may not be a bad idea either. Like toning it kind of. Like
Using
I've
the
we
never
what
did that in
done.
a
dye?
rattle can. But
Yeah, see,
Hold
he's
on.
talking
What kind of
gibberish now.
dye?
Aniline. What
Like
is that? I don't even know how to
sheep's
spell
wool, lanolin,
that.
and
Lanolin?
with an A.
Lanolin?
aniline.
It's it doesn't really say aniline dye on here or stuff, but that's what's at the base of it. Like anything that has like
I'm
a
all about
natural
that base.
So
color.
remember how I
And the
asked you
treble.
a question about like buying furniture and like it's so perfect and it's got like pigment and stuff in it?
Mhm.
I'm sure that's it. They just spray it with dye and like clear coat and they UV it and it's done.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how they do it. Like all that stuff you buy from Vietnam and Polynesia and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we do some of that. I did
It's
some of that today. It was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
We had this wild or not wild. It was a wild repair. It was a solid maple dresser. The guy calls it a burrow though, but I don't know what defines a burrow, but it's a dresser. And it had severe water damage. Like all the boards up the sides were completely like the joints were like snapped, and we actually had to remove a good part of the wood. And but yeah, we were able to get it back together, plane it. Most anyone with reasonable sense would have totaled it, right? Non-salvage. But it's like we could do it, and it started actually going right. However, the color on it was nuts. It was like a cherry, but it whenever we started off with trying to just get as close as we could with the right color stain, and so we went with the gun stock from Minwax, which
Okay.
that's one thing why
Kind of that reddish brown.
Yes, which that's very misleading because the gun stock from Varathane is more like a light oak,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's almost
yeah,
like a
see,
golden oak.
Yes, and that's got me in trouble before. And so I'm like, oh yeah, grab the gun stock, and I didn't know that Minwax was basically red.
Yes.
The gun stock, but yeah, so we started with that, and then a little bit of the Varathane mixing up houses, honey, and
Yeah, honey's a good color.
and that went well, but that was letting too much of the natural grain come through. Whereas like the original coat, because we only were refinishing the sides, and so the top was obviously not stained, and so we came back with y'all ever heard of color in oil? The only cans of it we have, I don't know if you can buy it anymore.
I have not.
Are like super old, but and it's super thick. You have to add some VMNP to it to loosen it up, and you stir the heck out of it. But we mixed like a red and a yellow, and then we did a burnt umber base of it.
Do you almost
And,
like make your? It's basically like neutral stain, and then you add your own coloring to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. More or less. Yeah. It's literally just colors in oil, and yeah, and we like played with that, and then we put down one coat, and it was still kind of too warm, and then we did more coats of just the burnt umber on after it, and it came out perfect, and it looked so good. And however, at the very end of the day, so we're doing this between coats of lacquer, right? And satin lacquer, and at the end of the day, Mark looks at it, he's like, wait, I think that top's a little more glossy, because it wasn't quite an obvious gloss.
Yeah.
But yeah, most everything we do satin, but right next to the satin, we're like, oh fuck. And so like the last 30 minutes, he's like, I already cleaned the gun. I'm like, look, you do it or I'm gonna do it. We gotta put on another coat. We're trying to give this back this week. And yeah, we end up doing it. But then whenever one of his passes with the gloss lacquer, he got too close to the piece, and it caused some blush. Like too much lacquer was too thick. Where I was like, Mark, it's like, you effed us, no. And but we spray a little retarder on it, and we think it's gonna settle out by tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah,
I just realized what kind of lumber or what kind of wood you are, Colton.
What is that?
You, sir, are mesquite.
I look. I have it written down.
Get out of here.
So the reason I
oh my
picked
god,
it, you're extremely proud to be from Texas.
Yep.
You're very stubborn to work with when you want to be, but once you get things into the way that in the shape that it works, that is a piece that will be with you for life.
Literally right here.
So
I was thinking mesquite. Okay, you go ahead, Rob.
I've never used mesquite, and that is probably very accurate, aside from like barbecue. But I was gonna say
also there's a lot of other uses for mesquite that are fantastic.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like maple, because like
he's white,
abrasive resistant.
I was gonna say it's hard, and it's kind of like tried and true, and you can kind of count on maple. But like soon as you put like a little AKA alcohol or water on it, it just goes twisted, a little wild, and like sometimes when you're using it, it just decides to just go to the left or to the right or, twist up on you. You know what I mean?
I like
Hell
it.
Yeah.
You like on the surface, it's like, hey, this is tried and true. But then like really once you start to get deep into it, it just kind of goes to the left or to the right.
Well, I'm glad
on an adventure.
Yeah.
So,
and then my thought on the mesquite was kind of like a sunflower, or not a sunflower. What's the yellow? I'm drawing a blank right now for some reason. Little yellow flower, like a daisy. No, that it grows in concrete.
Dandelions.
Dollar weed.
I can't remember that. Yeah, I'm just gonna go dandelion. Yeah, dandelion.
Yeah.
Like, because a dandelion will grow anywhere, right? Like it's like, oh, F yeah, concrete. Ugh! And then whereas like a rose is like, this soil is too high pH, I'm gonna die. And I don't know. That's what I was thinking, mesquite, because mesquite's kind of like that. It's like, oh, F yeah, rocky, West Texas terrain.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Texas. So what's
All
the
right,
last
Oh,
question on
man.
here, Jess?
Next question. There's a lot to pick from. I was trying to pick a good one. I think that I
It was
really
the one
like this.
superhero. I
I
thought.
really like this question. It's on Lucky 13. If you could invent a new tool, do forget about engineering.
It would. Yeah, I already know. I already know exactly. It would easily remove like a millimeter off of your piece. Like say
Specifically.
yes, very specific. Like you just sprayed like with a rattle can some toner on something, and you're like, holy crap, no! This tool goes on there and just removes it. It's a undo like control or whatever undo button.
I would have to say I would create a machine that automatically mills up square or true boards, whatever size or dimension you need, from raw lumber or slabs.
But like, so somebody could like afford it. They make such a thing.
Yes, yeah. We're not talking
not
like
like
a
a factory.
$350,000 machine or
Right.
$1 million machine. I'm talking like, for instance, the piece that I literally just delivered today. Last week, I milled up two 10-foot long slabs of white oak, and trying to wrestle 10-foot long slabs on my table saw, and then the joiner, and then the planer, and everything else. I was like, there's got to be an easier way. Turns out there is, but I don't have those machines because they cost like $1 million.
Yeah.
But if I could literally just like feed in a slab, and out the other side comes, perfectly sized what I'm looking for lumber that's square on at least 3 sides, that would be incredible.
They also call them employees too. But.
Yes.
So I'm hesitant, although nobody listens to this, but I am hesitant to talk about this because this is something that I thought about for a while. Okay, so I want you to envision this in your head. Close your eyes. So imagine a router. Okay, you guys' eyes are open.
Handheld or palm?
Yes. Around that size.
Okay.
And then it has like a hot plate on it. This is for edge banding, by the way.
On the top?
Oh.
On the plate. And then instead of a router bit in the middle, there's no hole. And then on either side, it has like a spring-loaded router bit, right, with bearings that push themselves to either side of the plywood, whatever it is you're trying to edge band, that apply themselves to whatever width. So it could be 1/2 inch plywood, it could be 3/4 inch plywood, it could be quarter, it could be 1 inch. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They're slightly tapered. You set the depth. And then as you apply the edge band, you hold it on the front and you just slide this machine and it presses it, heats it, and trims it as you slide this down, right? And it actually works. Because the problem is a lot of them don't work.
I will say, Festool actually has this machine.
Is it like that?
Yes.
Let me look it up.
Dude, I've never seen a Festool edge banding anything.
Dude, it is. I know a couple people who have them.
I swear I've never seen it.
It is the Festool Conturo KA65 edge bander. So that's a full setup, but it is
kind of along the same thought.
Yes. Conturo KA65 Plus. It is an edge banding machine that looks like a large.
But see, that looks like all the other edge banders.
But
it's got sandpaper and everything.
Yeah, it trims everything. It heats it up as you're going along. It works in whatever contour.
Yeah, this would go around a radius even.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. See, like I'm thinking something. I get what you're saying, but I'm thinking something smaller.
Well, just to let you know, 90% of what you're trying to do has been done.
Well, see, like Grizzly has one that's just like this. There's a bunch of companies that have one like this. It's just that's so bulky to me. I do like the fact that it goes around, right?
Mhm.
But I think the key would be to change the edge banding as it is in the industry. Like what Colton was talking about the other day with the pressure stuff, that's freaking genius. Still doesn't trim it, right? Still doesn't trim it. Like the 3M tape, and I looked that stuff up, it's super expensive because the pressure tape and all that other stuff, and they only sell it in small rolls. Like you can't buy a 250 roll like you can with this regular edge banding. With the
I don't
3M
buy
pressure
it, so I don't
tape.
know.
You know what I mean? Like you can't. I did look it up, and it's super expensive. Mostly it's for melamine, but like I don't know. I just feel like the whole industry with all of that is so like nobody just like said, "Hey, this is kind of stupid." Like the machines never work right. They don't like all this different things that have to do with edge banding, and because originally people used they're now mostly companies use the beads. There's the beads.
Take
And
off their
it heats it
clothes
up.
and throw beads.
Yeah, and it melts the freaking bead glue, and like it's like a whole thing. And then the hot melt stuff came where it was pre-glued. That's nice, but you still got to trim it, and then it wants to split and all these different things. So I don't know.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I
think
get. I have another $1 million invention if we can pull it off.
Okay, what do we got?
So with wrapping trees with Christmas lights, right? It can be kind of a pain in the butt,
Absolutely.
especially when you're getting up on a ladder trying to do it high. And
You
or
should
if you have
never
a
get
wide
up on
tree.
a ladder high. Not safe.
No promises. But so here's what I picture. Picture like you're holding like a pistol mount, basically like a drill,
Mhm.
and then picture like a whiskey barrel band, right? That goes around it, right? And it has a ring of or like a belt of Christmas lights on it, right? And you can stand on one side and this machine passes that band around the circle, wrapping the lights as it goes, right? And there's a lot of like what ifs on there, but I'm picturing something like that, and you could wrap a tree in no time.
How about a drone?
You'd get very dizzy on the drone.
No, the drone.
Yeah.
Oh,
You'd have to make the Christmas lights
that's not a bad idea.
different. They couldn't be the normal Christmas light.
Yeah,
They'd
which,
have
I
to
mean,
be like
they make some that are in line, like
if they're in
LED.
line, it could work. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be a lot easier because even like
or you know they make ropes like the Christmas light ropes.
they do. That would work. That would work. So
Like I said, there's a bunch of what ifs and all there, but yeah, I could see it working.
So I would like to throw out the $1 million idea that I had years ago, and unfortunately, technology has surpassed everything. But years ago, and I'm talking like 15-ish years ago, I had started to form a company called He Shoots, He Scores, and it was going to be a urinal gaming system. And the idea was like when you're out at the bar, like you could go into the urinal and there would be like a
Get
pressure
points.
pad. Yeah, and you're playing games on a screen above you and you get points, and then, people would then be able to go out and like at bars they typically have like these are our specials. And on that same TV it would be like here's the leaderboard for He Shoots, He Scores. So people would keep
It's
drinking
genius.
to then go
Now
do
it
it.
would be an
And you
app.
could
Now it would be
play
an app,
yeah, it'd be an app. But like you could go around to like different bars and like who's the leader in Chicago or in Houston or whatever. And it would just be like somebody is constantly out there playing these urinal games.
Urinating. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could
Oh,
tell
that's awesome.
advertising time on there if people didn't want to, play, but whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, I saw there was one at this like German. Is it still a pub? If you call it German pub, I don't know. It's a German
Beer
drink place, like,
house?
where yeah, beer house. When you buy your beer in a stein,
Mm-hmm.
like, and their urinals they were cut out of kegs,
Okay.
right? But then in the bottom of them, there was like a soccer goal with like a little ball on a
Yeah.
string, and you tried to hit the soccer ball.
I have seen that actually over in Germany, and that's what gave me the idea.
Oh, was it actually a German thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
So like it gave me the idea, and I was like, there's got to be a way to do like, aim here to be able to get more points, and then you could have it
Absolutely.
be something
Pressure.
where there was like, yeah, you could do it that way, but then you could also put in like sensors, like proximity sensors on the sides of the urinal, so like people could do like, got to do like skiing down the hill, like down
Way to
this
miss,
course.
douchebag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That
was
reminds
all.
me. That reminds me of that time that I went diving.
This is
and
going to be fun to transition it from peeing.
And I
Go
said,
ahead.
I was just thinking, like, why do crabs never give to charity? Because they're
Oh, that's true. That's
This is
true.
All right, let's move on. Let's go on to another question here.
Let's do it.
I don't even remember what
All
the
right.
other one was. I think we should talk about what. Do you want to keep it a wood theme, or do you just want to go out? Let's go out.
Let's go nuts. Let's go
If
wild.
animals could talk, which one would be the rudest?
Ooh.
Because people always kind of falter.
Yorkies.
No, I gotta say cats, man.
Cat, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cats
Like
are
what kind
a-hole.
of cat? All right,
House
let's do a
cat.
cat. Just a house cat.
I feel like the cats would be like snooty, like trash.
I think it's, but like house cats always look at you when they're sitting across the room, like they're trying to plot your murderous demise.
Yes.
And they are trying to figure out a way that if like they were slightly bigger, how they would murder you in your sleep. And I can't get behind that, man.
That's funny. I was just thinking about animals and like their voices right now, and I pictured like Danny DeVito as a pug. Like what? Oh man.
I was just trying to think like what would be like. I don't know if you ever met a possum like out in the wild.
Mhm.
They're pretty nasty.
We get a lot in our backyard.
I feel like
here
they
and
would,
there.
Yo, get on
they would
here.
have yeah, well that or like a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
One of the two. Yeah, the hissing,
Mhm.
that's nasty, like little like white trash. They're like the white trash.
Billy Joe Bob, bring your ass over here.
Oh,
I picture a Louisiana
exactly.
accent.
I feel like they
I'm
would
gonna
be
get
nasty
on
and be
all
like,
this trash
mind
down
your
here now."
business. Mind your
Never know.
business. Yeah.
Here go trash. That I don't know, but Yorkies like would be like the Karens of the world. Like,
Yeah. Yorkies
ask to
are
see
a
your
little
manager, be
yappy.
like, excuse me, sorry, you left me outside where the dogs live. I need to get back in the house now.
You know what would be funny though
Idiot.
is manatees. I feel like would sound like Chong from Cheech and Chong. They would just be like, "Wow, man, we're just out here enjoying the sunshine, man."
Like in a really deep
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You guys ever
like-
munch the grass down here, man?
Yeah. I
you
saw
know that
one at
pirates used to
SeaWorld.
mistake those for mermaids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did to
that was
those
back when
manatees,
it was a
but
lot better
Yeah,
thing to be
real.
thick.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. By
All
the
right.
way, did you know that?
Sorry, your audio just caught up. What?
Did you know that pirates? Most people think that their favorite letter of the alphabet would be R, but it's actually the
Mhm.
C's.
That's right. That's right. All right. Let's talk
Very
food
well.
for a second.
I love it.
Cheese board. Cheese board. What's the best cheese?
Smoked Gouda, no question.
Yeah, I like any cheese that's like so
Mixed with
hard that
cheddar.
it has like salt crystals in it. Like,
I'm a big fan of like a good blue
man,
cheese.
I haven't been up with my cheeses.
So
Good
blue cheese can be good, but you have to have the right
so
like
rich.
pairing with it. You can't just
Right.
sit there and eat blue cheese.
No.
It's too much. You have to have like white grapes with it or like something else to offset it.
Wine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hookers.
I do like there is some like I don't even know what kind of cheese it is. Maybe like a white cheddar and it's got like grapes. Like it's got like purple.
Oh,
chunks
it's
in it.
halloumi.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Halloumi.
Halloumi
Very
with
good.
apricots. Oh, it's awesome cheese.
Cheese is so
Mm-hmm.
So one time, Crystal went to a class on how to make charcuterie boards, and at first I thought it was so ridiculous. I'm like, you go into a class to learn how to stack cheese on a board, but when she came back, like the way she makes charcuterie boards, it actually makes sense. There needs to be a flow to the board, and then like the way you
Absolutely.
fan out like your little meats.
Have you
and your cheeses.
on that note, did she learn in this class how to make a salami rose?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She's done a few of those.
Yeah, those are fun.
And then you can do like a little dish in the middle of the rose with some olives or whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We can mess up a charcuterie board.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
Grill
right.
dinner all day.
So let's move it to like an odd thing. What is
Mhm.
your let's talk to Ross here. What is your most irrational fear?
My foot in the workshop?
In a workshop.
Think about it.
There are
Like-
two.
Oh, okay.
The first one that happens near daily. I am convinced there is going to be a very poisonous spider inside of the mask of my respirator.
Yes.
Every time I pick it up. And I've never had a spider, ever, in all the years I've been woodworking, and I'm knock on wood now because it'll happen tomorrow. But I have never had a spider inside my respirator. But every time I pick it up, I'm like, there's going to be like a wolf spider sitting in there for no reason, and I'll have it bite my face.
So I have had a spider, not in my respirator, but yes, I'm worried about that in my respirator. What was it? My first summer, or like when I first got into this house and like in the bigger garage, which is the shop. I did a 13-foot waterfall, that sunken cypress table, right?
When you said it smelled like swamp ass.
Yeah, and so like at one point, whenever we were pouring, like there's a bunch of trash and there's a bunch of like just on the floor, right, for this over pour, and then like we would just move it to the center and then put more paper down as we're pouring, and it was kind of an intense time, but like I think that the stuff underneath the table might have been there like a week, and I was underneath the table, right, and it's sitting on sawhorses, and I'm underneath the table like working on something. I'm upside down, and then I put my hand down, and not 5 inches from my hand is a giant, like, it had to have been some sort of tarantula, like that was like just hanging out right there. It was a big ass spider.
Damn.
And I might be exaggerating. It was a few inches wide.
It was a banana.
Wide. It was a big enough spider. I'm gonna get up really quickly and burn the garage down.
Oh,
and and yeah, so I have had a spider like that. But
that's wild.
Yeah.
Luckily,
I
we
was
have
like, what in the Australian outback is this?
Yeah, we have a thing up north that prevents that. It's called snow.
Yes.
Yeah, the cold freezes out critters like that, which is good.
Yeah.
What's your other irrational?
My other irrational fear, because so much time is spent in the shop on my own, I don't know why, but I am deathly afraid that like I'm going to be using some machine and like totally maim myself, and nobody will be around for like hours, at least, if not days.
They'll even like grab your phone or anything.
Yeah,
I think about that often. Yeah.
I am very, very conscious about that, to the point where I'm probably overly cautious on the safety side. But with that in mind,
like
once
the guy
again,
that got
knock on wood,
like
I
the
have
guy
all
that
my
got his
appendages.
hands cut off in the farm equipment.
Mhm.
They rushed him to the hospital and they said, "Why didn't you bring your hands?" He says, "Gosh, doc, I couldn't pick them up." that kind of thing.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
What about you? Me, irrational fears. I guess I kind of get like a lot of time. Like it happened today. Like I pushed something through the table saw, and like especially on a job site table saw, and there's like not a guard or anything on it, and I just like, what if I just didn't pay attention for like a second? And I would have just drawn my hand back through that. Like if I just was like thinking about something else and I looked to the left and it just pulled, because really on the drawback you can just catch it just as easy.
Oh yeah, almost worse.
It sucks you in.
Yeah, because you're not holding anything, and then I would have just taken off all these fingers. Like, what? And then like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna be the next thing?
You're gonna, yeah.
And then
anytime
I'm gonna get pantsed. Like, it might be a day that I'm not wearing underwear or something, and I'm just going to be standing there.
Hold on.
When you're feeling spicy.
Mind your business, Ross. And
Is this an?
Hey, it's Florida.
Is this
It's
like
Florida,
a regular
Ross. Come on, man.
occurrence for you, man?
It's Florida. So, like,
Jess is
what
our
I'm
secret
gonna
Florida
be,
man.
I
Come on.
always wear a belt, but like, what if it's a day where I'm like not wearing a belt, and all of a sudden I'm just at the table saw and somebody decides to Jones me and it just flops on the table.
You're right. That is pretty irrational.
How low is your table saw?
Colton, what about you? Do you have any
Jess is pretty tall.
any irrational fears?
So I definitely echo the spiders.
Yep.
Never
Yeah.
thought of that.
But I guess one thing is that, which is not even that irrational, is that nowadays my hair will get caught in the drum sander, and it's gonna
How do you
suck my head in.
hold on? Why would you ever put your head near the drum sander?
He's trying to check it. Check, see what it's doing. Come on.
Yeah, no, there have been times where I'm going around it, looking, cleaning, inspecting it.
You guys seen those things on TikTok?
I'm
where they
just
got,
saying.
like, the drill and it catches
Irrational
the girl's
fear or
hair.
not?
Huh.
Yeah, that's why my cousin is an electrician, right? Or Crystal's cousin, so it makes it a second cousin to me.
Sure.
Whatever.
No, it's
He's an electrician. He used to have really long hair. He does not anymore. He just buzzes it now because he got it caught maybe in a drill or something,
yeah.
and it yanked out a patch of hair.
Yeah,
I still don't
skin
know
and
if it's
everything.
grown back. It yanked it out, and
Hmm.
yeah, and he's an electrician. He's running like a hand tool,
Mm-hmm.
like it. Yeah.
By the way, never forget to turn off the mixer before you lick the beaters.
That's a good
true.
reminder. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
All
also,
right.
I mean, if you think about the grand scheme of things, it does not matter if you are man or woman, black or white, gay or straight. At the end of the day, it is night.
All right. Let's talk. Let's talk serious
Yes, it
here for a
is.
second. This is a deep, deep question, and I'm not meaning that facetiously. If you could travel in time, Colton, where and when would you go?
This is a good question for
So
Colton.
you get one answer. This is like grant a genie wish. What, where, and when would you go? You can
There's
stay
so
as
many
long as
practical
you want.
answers.
You can stay as long as you want. This is about you, though.
Hmm.
Oh, you know what?
For humanity.
I would go back. I'd like to see Jesus's carpentry methods. Right?
Right? So
Like,
he's
is he
like a
doing
teenager?
dovetails? Like
He's in
I
his
mean,
30s.
he's butt joints? Like, what are we
like
doing here?
I
Young
wonder if
20s
he's
or
ever
like
any good, man. You never
Yeah.
hear anything about like, oh man, this table was made by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, clearly he did not make furniture that stood the test of time.
Well, maybe. I mean,
We don't know.
We don't know.
Could
You
be.
don't know. Or he couldn't
What wood
even
was
make
he
a step
using,
stool.
You know?
Yeah.
I think most of the stuff that he ever made was probably like either burned down in some battle, right?
Mm.
That happened after that, or Israelic termites got it, Jerusalem termites ate it, or it just dry rotted. Like something wood doesn't only last so long. Right? That's one of the beauties of it.
I mean, you'd think if it were touched by the, Son of God, that it would
let's
have
think
the
about
staying
it.
power.
Because like after he hit his 30s, then he was off doing his own thing.
Yeah, it was like a 3-year stint.
No, because his dad was carpenter, so
I'd
he
be like, hey,
learned
could you
it
sign
when he
this,
was young.
please?
Yeah.
And did
It's like,
some
why you want me to
school,
sign
so,
it?
like, he's got his late teenage
Trust me.
to like early 20s.
But
he made some stuff.
You never hear in the Bible of like people being like, "Man, I'm glad this whole Messiah thing worked out because this table is garbage." Like,
Right? Yeah. Look at
Yeah.
look at it.
yeah,
What did they use as saws? and
Oh.
stuff?
yeah, yeah.
All right, so
Bow
you're-
saws of forms.
How do you do his
So
marketing?
you're like, so like 20 something. That would be AD, right?
BC.
Anno Domini. No, BC's before Christ. Anno Domini.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
AD.
you're right.
AD.
After
All right.
that. birth.
That's good. That's good. What about you, Ross?
Are we talking for me in particular, or just in general where I would like to be?
I think like if you had like a real specific, like this is never going to get granted again. You get to do this. You can stay as long as you want. Come back when you want.
I would say
Can you
one
bring
of
stuff
two
with
times
you?
then. As long as I have the knowledge that I have now. Is that the case? One of the times would be to go back to like 1994 or 5 and buy as much stock as I could of both Google and Amazon, and or to like 1999 and buy Bitcoin, buy like $1,000 worth of Bitcoin for like $1 a piece and just hold on to it. 20 years later, I'm sitting on,
You
millions
go
and
back to
millions of dollars.
yourself.
Yeah. But if I'm going back like way further,
Oh no, you get to pick.
I have always loved I guess it would be the post World War II 1940s. So like 45 to 49, when you had like all these people who like the engineering back then was just exploding because so much money had been pumped into the war effort. And then people were like, well, I gotta do this or I gotta do that. So like everybody was building like crazy. You had carpentry explosion everywhere. You had motorcycles were really taking on like Harley Davidson and that whole era. I think it would be a really cool time to go back to.
Very good.
So
I am like you guys. I think part of me wants to go back to me,
yeah,
like when I was like 16, and just be like, all right, this is what you're gonna do, and you're gonna invest in this, and you're gonna buy this, and you're gonna save your money and do that, and then you're not gonna. And like this whole like you like carpentry, like stick to that, do that now, start your little business now, and then
I would have done some more music stuff if I could go back and be like, go to this show or don't go to that show or like talk to this guy or do this. Like that would have been something.
yeah. And then I also kind of like want to go back like to JFK and like I've always kind of had
And just be like, duck.
yeah, be like like see what's going on with JFK and like see if there was a second shooter and like I don't know, be on the
Is no one going to mention 9/11? I mean,
oh well, I mean we know what happened there. Yeah, but that's not
I mean, stop it.
Did you see? Didn't you see Family Guy? Like you can't change that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Anyway, all right. One more question here.
What do you got, Jess?
I don't know. There's a couple good ones.
Let's do something off the wall.
Off the wall. Okay.
Not all at once.
If
well, while he's looking,
yeah, I've been looking at it.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
Ground beef.
Ross. Ground beef. What do you call a cow with 2 legs?
Lean beef.
Lean beef. What do you call a really mean cow?
What?
Beef jerky. We call it. What do you call a heifer who just had a calf?
What?
Decaffeinated.
Okay, if a movie was made about your life, what genre?
Are we also going to say like who is playing us?
You can do all of it. Go ahead, Ross.
Mine would be like an action comedy movie.
Okay.
Think along the lines of like Snatch.
Hellboy. Oh,
or
Snatch is good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like that type of like great one-liners, great character development, a lot of laughs along the way, but like some crazy shit has happened.
Especially like Boris. Yeah.
Yeah. Boris the Bullet Dodger.
Yeah.
He dodges bullets.
Yeah.
So yes. I would it would be that kind of movie, and let's see who would play me. A lot of people say Kevin James, but I think it's because I'm a bigger dude.
We can do better.
I don't know.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do better.
Oh well.
I think John C. Reilly would play you, dude. John C. Reilly would play Colton in whatever the movie is.
Oh yeah. I was trying to think. I know John.
Yeah. It's the dude from Step Brothers.
Yeah. That's fair.
Definitely.
That's fair. Before the haircut, I used to get Chris Pratt. However, I was more of like Chris Pratt, like the Andy
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Pratt from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to that Star-Lord though. At one point, I almost put Star-Lord, like, like the one picture where he's all ripped.
Yeah.
That's on every poster.
I used
almost
to get
put that
Doogie Howser.
as my phone background, but I was like, I think people are gonna get the wrong idea
Agreed.
if they see a dude with his shirt off on my phone background. So I never did.
Yeah. That's fair.
But
That's fair.
I think if they made a movie about me, it would be like Look Who's Talking, like one of those movies where like I would be like somebody would be talking to me and then you just like hear my thoughts all the time. Be very sarcastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's
lying.
fair.
I think that's kind of
Colton, what kind of movie would it be for you?
I don't know. Man, you know what? Maybe a rom com, except for instead of like falling in love with a woman, it's fall in love with woodworking and like kind of like
Hmm.
going
the
all
last
out.
scene's a bed you made out of it.
The last scene is me rushing to the airport to stop my table saw from going on it, leaving town.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't know. That's the best I could do.
Jess, what kind
Hopefully
of
not
movie
a
would
comedy.
yours be?
Just a comedy.
Or
Mine?
sorry, you said what kind of movie it would be. Who would play you?
Oh, yeah. Well, Doogie Howser used to always be what everybody used to say. I have no idea who would play me.
Hmm.
You guys would have to pick that. I have no idea.
It would
But,
have
like,
to
if
be
I-
somebody with like a drier
I
delivery.
like Punch Drunk Love. Have you ever seen that movie?
It's been
It's
forever
an
since I
old
have.
Adam Sandler movie. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And it's like dry and there's just like a lot of like staring at the screen,
Mm-hmm.
but like you're thinking. And then do you remember, I don't know if you remember Punch Drunk Love, but it's got the guy, he's dead now. He passed away from cancer. He was in oh gosh, I'm terrible with this stuff. He was in that movie with Robin Williams where Robin Williams was like a doctor and it's a true
Patch
story.
Adams?
Patch Adams. He's passed away now. And he was the other guy and he's like, I can't get my patient to eat.
Huh.
Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah.
He was in that as the bad guy in Punch Drunk Love. And like what's his name? Like rips the phone out of the wall and then like just drives to where this call center is and he still has the phone in his hand like a day later. And he's like, if you don't stop calling, I'm gonna kill you. Just walks back out. Like, I don't know, like stuff like that where it's like drawn out. I don't know. Something along those lines. Kind of dry, like punctual.
Okay. I like it.
Wait, better question. What movie would Beat Around the Bench podcast be? What kind of movie? I think I know who would star us.
Okay. Who's
But I don't know
starring
what
it?
kind of
And
movie
I'll tell you the kind of movie if you tell me the actors.
Okay. So Ross is George Clooney.
Okay. I like that.
I'll do Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
And then
Okay.
I'm
All
picturing
right,
the
all right.
actor for you, Jess, but like it'd be a lot cooler if you did, man. Trying to picture the one for you, Jess. What help me out, Ross?
I mean, the problem, like you could do Brad Pitt, but
Oh God.
you'd have to like,
yeah,
you'd have to
I'd
be a
rather
little
be like
drier.
a girl. I'd like it to be like a girl. Like, have you seen the Office Party?
Office Party.
Yeah, the Christmas Office Party.
Oh yeah.
And the girl that drives the cab, and she's like,
Yeah.
she's like Carol. Carol.
She's
That's
also
who
the
I-
drug dealer. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to be her. Yes.
Okay. That's fair.
Are you Carol? Cancel, mother. Yeah, that's a good movie.
That movie is wild.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. Office Christmas Party. That's what it is.
Office Christmas Party.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh my gosh!
You
that
know
is
who would actually-
That's who he should be. Is the guy in
Yeah.
Office Christmas Party?
Jason
Oh,
Bateman.
No, the guy with the
T.J.
curly hair.
Miller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Yes.
no, he's at his.
Yeah. That's him.
Yeah,
Yeah. That could work. I like it. I
yeah,
like it.
that or
I
I'll be
want our
Kate
fans
McKinnon.
to write in and say who we should be.
That's a great idea. Fans, if you're listening and you have some better ideas as to who we should be, tag us, send us DMs. Just let us know who should play us in a movie about Beat Around the Bench podcast. And I have a feeling it would almost be like a dude where's my car kind of
Absolutely.
idiocy.
Well, it's because you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go your
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Next time we meet up, we should do some sort of like what's the one? It's like wannabe Jackass, but it's the guys who make each other laugh, or like do all sorts of dares.
Are they older and they're from New York?
Yeah,
It's a TV show.
it is.
crap. Yeah,
Either way,
it's 2 words.
Practical Jokers, Impractical Jokers.
Yes,
there you go.
Impractical Jokers.
Practical Jokers.
Which the only reason I hate on them is because the Jackass guys could do that and like wouldn't even flinch.
yes.
Yeah,
But it does
but
make
their
it funny
stuff's
that
a
they get all
little
nervous
rough.
about it. But
Their stuff's a little rough. Like
yeah,
maybe like
I would
Mother
love to be
likes
on
to
Jackass.
come back.
Jackass. That's a dream
life-changing.
job.
Remember they got shot with rubber bullets one time, and I'm
Yeah.
all right. Well, that was kind of fun. I'm glad that you guys.
That was fun. Thank you, sir.
That,
I like it. I did want to briefly touch on the project I delivered today.
yes.
I delivered, and if anybody hasn't seen it, it is on both my reels and my stories. I delivered a 12-foot console build today, and it was flanked by cabinets with glass doors, and it had a built-in electric fireplace in the middle, and a custom inch and 3/4 inch white oak top on it. And I will say, when I was staining everything, it was a 2-part stain process because I had to match another piece that I had already done for this customer. And I had to put the Varathane Kona wood stain on first, and immediately after I wiped it off, put on the Varathane Carbon Gray on top. And the mixture of the two stains on top of each other gave the perfect color scheme. And I was doing all the cabinet parts and the toe kick, and everything looked awesome. And I kept looking over at this immaculate 12-foot long white oak top. And I was like, are you guys sure that you really want to stain this? Because it would look amazing if it was just like walrus oiled and some lacquer on top. And I literally asked like 3 times, and they were like, okay, we're going back and forth. What do you recommend? We think we want it stained. And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yes, we want it stained. And I was like, okay. So I stained it, and there was enough variance in the types of wood that, because I use maple for the face frames, Baltic birch for the ply, and white oak, obviously, for the top. It ended up coming out awesome. I was really, really pleased. And I wanted to say it's rare when we deliver a project, and I'm sure you guys are similar, that you get a visceral reaction from the customer. The customer today, after I finished the install, because I had done electrical to where I put interior lighting inside, and it underlit the entire project as well in the overhang on the toe kick, and it looked awesome. I delivered the project.
I did really like that
installed
color
everything.
too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
When I delivered it, the customer was like, I don't think you have any idea how much this means. And I'm like, well, it meant a lot to me too, because number one, I built it. And number two, you paid me for it. And I enjoyed that, transaction. He was like, no, like, I don't think you understand. I grew up and my childhood was pretty rough. Like, my parents split up, and we went with my mom, and me and my 3 siblings and my mom would all live in one motel room, and we would clean motel rooms to be able to afford the rent for the week. and we lived in there for years. And then eventually she got a nicer job, and we got a trailer. And I lived in the trailer until I was basically going to college. And then I went to college, and now I've done really well, and I'm able to afford a custom piece like this. And this piece,
Like he's
this
accomplished
console,
something.
yeah, he's like, this means more to me than you could really ever imagine. And I was like, dude,
That's super cool.
that is awesome to be able to
Is-
create that kind of reaction for
And
a
he could have spent
customer.
his money on anything.
Mm-hmm.
He
And
chose
he was
to do
like,
something for him. Yeah.
yes. And I think that is awesome. And to be able to deliver that and know that it was made correctly, and it'll be a piece that's in that home for years, if not the rest of their life, it was awesome.
Well,
So
the thing is when you build,
That's
this is
cool.
what I try to explain to customers that they don't understand. Like, let's say it gets damaged or
Mhm.
something, like you can repair it. Like you can
Mhm.
totally repair it. You can be refinished over and over and over and over and over and
Mhm.
over again. It'll never wear out.
Change
You
colors.
can sand that top down 1,000 times. You could change colors. Like, I mean, maybe the face rims and stuff might be hard, but as far as the top, especially, like that repairability creates longevity.
yes.
Veneers and stuff, as important as they are, only go so far.
Yep.
You only sand through so much, and so on and so forth. So that's the difference between a custom piece and a solid wood piece and veneers and crap you buy
Yeah.
from.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, the power of woodworking, man. So like a lot of our projects, we're the final piece, like with XFR, we're the final piece of the puzzle until people get their life back, right? Like they had a traumatic fire, and like luckily they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you saved my grandmother's piece. Like, and we've had some emotional like interactions like that. I definitely relate with that.
That's awesome.
It's a cool
It's
thing.
a very cool
that's
feeling.
a big thing too.
The beauty of woodworking, man. Yeah, it's more than just building crap, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's building special crap.
I agree.
Sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was what I wanted to cover. I do have two projects. Well, I have one project I have to start on tomorrow that I have to get done by the end of the year. It's a desk for a local orthodontist office. And then actually, as I was driving up to go deliver and install the console today, I got a call from a customer I've done work with before, and they want me to bid out and hopefully land a job for a very high-end luxury SUV maker for an event they're having, and they want 4 tables made, and they're all custom. So we'll see how that goes.
Good.
So those are things that are coming up. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. My question to Jess is: did you want to dive into any history of woodworking piece? Do you want to just keep it as Jackassery and we have a
No,
little more fun?
It's just Jackassary today.
I love that.
That's
Absolutely
it.
love that,
No
man.
history.
Love that.
Oh, Justice wasn't prepared. That's why he wanted Jackass it today.
No,
just
I mean
kidding.
I've always got something I can.
I'm just kidding, man. I know.
Out of my behind,
Hmm.
but
Let's see.
Drive your behind butt. Oh man.
All right.
I asked my wife if I was the only one she's ever been with, and she's like, "Yeah, the others were all 9s and 10s."
That's right.
Oh, I asked my wife if it was my buddies were going to the strip club, and I asked her if it was all right, and she's like, "Babe, why would you want to go to the strip club when you have me here at home like that?" I'm like, "Oh, baby, that's awesome! It'll save us so much money. I'll call the guys. We'll get a pizza. This will be great." Oh,
So, is there anything else you guys want to cover off on? Do you want some more Jackassery? What are we thinking?
I don't know. I was just going to talk about. So I've been putting back together this kitchen that
Let me guess. It was blown away during the hurricane or flooded out.
I put it in July, and I drywall, plumbing, electrical, everything, and then taken out. Helene took it out.
Ooh.
So not like 3-4 months later, 5 months later, it was all gone. Well, the bottom half of it, right? And it's interesting. It's interesting going back to something that you just did, and there's always things you come across that maybe you forgot, and this doesn't just apply to cabinetry; it applies to any type of woodworking or something. But it's nice because I'm very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I have found ways to do things, and once it works, like that's it. Like these
Yeah.
type of screws, like I'll drive to that store and go buy those screws, and like these hammer drill bits, I buy those. Like it always works, and any faults that they have, I know how to deal with them. Like I just pick a system and stick with it. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about like because there's more than one way to skin a cat, but and then so like we're trying to put this thing back, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. This has got to be like this. Like I just know that this is how this is supposed to go, and oh yeah, that's why this is like that because that's I always do this like that. Then we go to put it back, and oh yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly how I would have done it. Like finding some consistencies in how you do things um, are very interesting. And I will also go back to the whole cutting crown flat deal and the little snaps that are on your chop saw.
Hmm.
Learning, you guys know what I'm talking about?
I
Like
don't.
so crown molding has a spring angle. So
Yes.
it sits on the wall in a certain place. 45-45 is a common one. The other most common one is 38-52, which both adds up to 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And the 38-52 is actually probably more common than the 45-45.
Mm-hmm.
And on most table saws, or excuse me, on most miter saws, sliding miter saws, there'll be snap positive stops. And there's
Yeah.
one at 33.6
Yeah.
on the miter and 30 something 0.9 or whatever on the bevel. And you'll see it on the back. It's like a 22 and a half.
Yeah.
There's usually a 22 and a half.
Yeah, I'm about to say 22 and a half. Yeah.
22 and a half, and there's also like this one in the 30s, like 33 or 31 point. Yeah, that's what it is. 31.6 and 33.9. And you snap those and you can lay 38-52 crown bottom towards you. Don't have to turn it upside down, none of that other stuff. Just the way it's going to go on the wall. Lay it flat and snap that saw in there and cut it. And when you go to put it up, it will miter perfectly. Corners. There's a guy named Joe Fusco that figured out all the math. So let's say your corner isn't 90. Let's say it's 92.
Yeah.
Or it's an inside and it's like 80, 88.
Yeah.
You can put your finger down, 88, slide over, and then it says put this at this and that at the other, and you wind up. The trigonometry is already figured out for you.
Huh.
And you set your saw. The problem is setting your saw exactly back to exactly the right spot.
Yes. Do you have a digital readout on your saw?
No, that would be very nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be a very nice thing to have for somebody that does a lot of crown. You can always build you a little jig, but man, does that take the
guesswork out of it?
Oh my gosh! There's an app too, by the way. I don't know what it's called, but if you just type in like miter thing on like the App Store and the Google Play Store, you can put in what your angle is and what your spring angle is on your thing, and it will tell you what to set your saw at. Once again, it's very hard to set your saw at like 30.8. Like, you're not going to get that, especially if you have to do it both ways, from the left and from the right. But it's a pretty good way of doing crown and stuff like that. I was doing it today, and I was showing somebody that had done crown. He goes, "Oh, I just wonder what those things, I wonder what those little things you snap them in for." I didn't know, and I will say, a rigid miter saw has a bunch of them in it for all the like standard ones. My DeWalt does not; it only has the two. But a rigid miter saws have like 5 or 6 of them in it. Snap it into.
Interesting.
So, hold on. I want to play a jingle for the Snuggets, but I have a question for you guys. Do you guys have a Snugget at all for this week? Sure. Okay. So my question to you guys, I need to get a nugget from you gentlemen, and this is kind of a reverse nugget, if you will, the anti-nugget, or if you won't.
All right.
So in the staining process, as I was using multiple stains, I had cans of stain around my shop, and I got through the majority of the pieces without any issue. I had just finished the second to last piece. It was one of the cabinets, and I had my can of carbon gray stain, only about a third down, so 2/3 of the can left. And I knocked it over onto the floor, and
Right.
it spilled everywhere. Now,
course.
luckily, it was kind of contained in a small area, and I had all the pieces up on sawhorses so it would be easier to stain. So it wasn't that much of an issue as far as stains on the piece. However, my floor is at some parts still wet, and this happened like 3 days ago. And some spots, the stain is there. So my question to you gentlemen is, do you have a nugget for taking oil-based stain out of things?
I mean, mineral spirits. That's all I know.
Is that going to
Xylene or mineral spirits? Xylene will take about anything off that has anything to do with oil, but mineral spirits, most, if not all, oil-based stains are a mineral spirits base. That's what evaporates out of them.
Okay.
So
Try that.
We actually
soak it down with it, scrub it, and just a million paper towels,
Okay.
and try to get it up. Xylene will also remove just about anything.
Okay.
I mean, it'll remove glue. It'll remove just about. But
Yeah,
Xylene, don't get Xylene on your hands though.
Okay.
you may try like an acetone base, like
Yeah,
just like on a rag,
acetone.
like on a rough, tough rag, and just scrub it.
Okay.
But we used some lacquer retarder the other day. On
And that
some
removes
stain.
some stain?
Yeah, it's don't quote me on it. I don't know how well it would work in all situations, but it worked well here.
Okay.
And I know there's different chemicals, like they're meant for different things, but
Well, I mean, I know it will take it up, but I don't think you want to put it in your shop. And I know this for a fact because it'll take, like, if you, let's say you use a brush to paint some oil based paint and you forgot, and you just left that brush, you can soak this in it. And it's not anything you buy in a paint store because there's brush cleaner.
Yeah.
Brush cleaner will soften paint. Gasoline will take off. It will wipe right up, but it smells so bad that
I'll say, yeah, you won't smell that stain at all anymore.
But gasoline, I mean, like I've had old brushes that were like my favorite brush, and it got somebody left paint in it. You just set it in gas, and it won't hurt the bristles.
Huh.
But yeah, gasoline's nasty stuff.
Okay. Well, I do have
it. And also, if it's like caked on too, like whatever chemical you use with steel wool.
Okay, I have some hard bristle
steel.
plastic brushes I can use.
That'll work.
Is it like a smooth concrete floor?
Well, yes, for most of it. However, there was a big pile, and I mean a big pile of sawdust from where I had just cut out the inserts with the router for the pop-up power outlets that are in the top of this console. So there was a massive pile of sawdust, and the stain fell into that, and now that's like kind of caked onto the floor too. So I got to use.
I would picture that would help. Kind of be like, like when you throw up in
throw sawdust
and they throw that.
So I swear that Varathane stain is
stuff.
like part oil-based polyurethane. It's so thick.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when we use Varathane, generally, because it's almost like non-transparent.
Yeah.
I'll
the
50,
really colored
50 it. Yeah, it's made to dry fast, right?
Yeah.
It's made to not. Although I will say, if you do it over porous wood, it kind of wants to lap itself. But beside that, I usually cut it 50-50 mineral spirit.
Oh.
Because it's just so dang thick, I don't like
working with it. Okay.
I find that to be true for like your more like pure, like non-natural colors, but I love Varathane, which I
really prefer it over Minwax, like hands down. Absolutely.
Which
Yeah,
we,
I
we
guess
have
I really.
applications for Minwax. Like Minwax has some sort of like a shellac base in it or something like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And so we'll actually use it sometimes. Like say we already sprayed a piece and we want to change the color a little bit. We'll just
Oh.
rough up that lacquer, and because that has a shellac base, we can use the
That's it.
Minwax and then spray over it.
Huh.
I don't. I didn't know it had
It has
shellac
some sort of
base.
thing. Also, that's
You
word from
definitely
Rick.
can
I have
go.
not
You
read.
can definitely go over like a burnt edge, and you can scuff it, and you can take Minwax and rub it just right, and it'll go and like almost cover over clear coat, which is kind of weird. And
Hmm.
you know that is true. But I've
Okay.
always liked Minwax. Varathane's always it's just a dang thick.
I'm sorry you have to
It's
be wrong on this one, Jess.
just a dang thick.
Um,
It just depends what I'm going.
I do have a good nugget for folks. Um, if you have to build any kind of larger piece where you could break it into segments. Number one, always break it into smaller segments because it's much easier to transport than carrying one massive 12-foot piece in
Of
it.
course.
Yeah. But for making sure that the alignment happens correctly, always use uh, whether it's dowels or dominoes or something. Make sure you have everything pre cut, if you will, for alignment, and it makes the assembly go much faster when you put it all together in the customer's house. And as they say, time is money. So the more pre-work you can do, the better.
Yes.
You do it on pre-workout, you're even going faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say a big, like almost 100% mock up is a must. I
Yes.
used to always think I had it, and then I'd get there and there'd just be that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
16th of an inch just ruins your day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had everything pre-mocked up um, before I stained it, and then I took it apart to stain it all.
Yep.
So, yeah, the only thing I had not done was the attachment points from underneath the cabinet into the top, but that was easy
Okay.
to drill out and just put in those screws. So that was the only thing I had to do afterwards. But
Nice.
yeah,
My nugget kind of has to do with that.
okay,
More like an moment. But I always like so I've talked about part of this before, but like I always keep whether it's in my shop or now my pack out kit, um, different sizes of popsicle sticks,
yeah,
right? Like your big fat wide ones that like doctor might use to you
yeah.
know, or even like the smaller ones, and then also bamboo skewers.
I
They
actually
come in handy so often.
I took your advice because you said that the other day.
Hmm.
My wife, a piece came into our home. My wife tried to assemble it on her own, and proper messed up the screws, and I had to drill out the screw that she broke off 3 times. I had to drill that out, and then I ended up using toothpicks and a bamboo skewer,
Yeah,
and I CA glued them in, and then I cut them flush, and then I was able to then put in a new screw, and everything fit perfect. So thank
nice.
you for that advice.
Yeah, and also on the bamboo skewers, normally they come in like a 9 inch or 10 inch.
Yeah.
Like get the 5 inch. Like you can get a bundle of them on Amazon for like nothing.
Okay.
And like even like sometimes like say there's like a little edge you can't get stain in or something or like whatever you're doing,
Oh.
you can pull out your razor blade and shave off like either the popsicle sticks like to make them thinner or even the bamboo skewers, and you can get in like little bitty cracks that would have just taken like drove you crazy before.
Do you have a small block plane in your pack out kit?
I've been meaning to get one in there. Like I was thinking about taking one from my shop and putting it in
I
there.
highly
I was because I'm
suggest
also a bench plane, but like a bench plane's heavy.
yes, but if you put a block plane, just a small handheld one, for those times where you're like, I could do this with a razor blade, you'll get a much more precise cut and a lot safer cut if you use the block plane.
Yeah. I have used the snot out of my chisels though.
Have
Like
you sharpened them recently?
I haven't. I just kind of stropped them on my apron if I have it. But no, I've been. That's another thing. Hey, good. Good. Glad you brought that up. Want to ask you guys for in my pack out kit, I'd like to have a way to like quickly sharpen stuff.
Mhm.
Like,
Get you those little diamond plates that I bought.
yeah, do you think like a
So-
The
diamond
rubber
plate would be good?
backed little diamond
So
plates.
yes, those do work well. But if you are looking for something smaller that will work well for what you are doing, that is going to be fairly inexpensive, this is the time of year to do it. Go to somewhere like Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop, and they have diamond plated, almost like triangles that are on a little base that you can rotate from rough to medium to fine.
Yeah,
And
for like fly fishing, like for your
for that, or
hook,
for
right?
sharpening knives or whatever else,
Yeah.
think of like a hunting knife where you have to sharpen it, but you can get this thing for like $25, and
And
it
you would
gets
use it
up.
on a chisel?
I've used it like before I got a good set of like Japanese water stones.
Huh.
I used one of those and it did a really good job. And you're not doing like super high end hand chiseling, like you're doing some, but like my
You're just
guess
trying to get
is
your chisel sharp again. Yeah.
yes.
Oh, that's a
Or
really good
if
idea.
you're chiseling something, you're like, oh, I totally just hit a nail or a brad, and messed up my chisel. You can quickly put it onto the rough stone, like sharpen out that spot, and then
Yeah.
resharpen it,
Lose your
and be
divot.
yeah. And within 2 minutes, you're back in service.
Yeah, the wood whisperer guy, he talked a lot about like just quick
Mhm.
sharpening. I bought, I think we've talked about this before, probably a couple times, but it's like I don't know, maybe like a 2.5 inch wide by 6 or 8 inch long little diamond thing. And it's got a
Mhm.
rubber non slip back, and it comes in a pack, and you get 400, 600, 800, 1,000,
Mhm.
in it, and they make different ones. But even without any guide, you can literally just put a little water on it if you had to, or some sort of stropping oil.
Yeah.
And you could spit on it, and you can
Talk to
feel where that angle of your chisel is, and just pull it back a couple times,
Mhm.
and then flip it over and lay it flat,
Yep.
and just take that burr off, push it forward, and you've got it pretty sharp. Pretty sharp. Even at 600, you can get it sharp enough to use.
The other thing I will recommend to you,
Yeah.
Colton, if let's say once a week you take the time to resharpen all your chisels, the last thing you want to do is just throw them back in your pack out kit because they're going to bounce around and this and that. I can recommend to you either go to a decent uh, kitchen store where they sell like kitchen knives. You can get a knife roll, and then you can put all the chisels in their own compartment and roll everything up and take that bundle with you. Or if you want to go the ghetto route, but it still works, they give away those kind of like free like waistband aprons at Home Depot. You could put each chisel into the pouches, one or two of them in there, and then roll that up, and then it protects the blades. But
So I like. Go ahead.
yeah, but you don't have to spend a ton of money, is what I'm saying.
I like the
I have
roll
one for
idea,
my wrenches.
but what I did is I got them on Amazon, not too much, just a bunch of like 1 inch thick, maybe I think it might be 2 inch thick foam,
Hmm.
but it all comes in like this one has a little extra feature which I'm still figuring out if I like it or not.
The
Where
pull
it's like
out
a bunch
little
of
segments.
s- oh cube
Yeah. So
cubic prism whatever, and like you can pull those cubic prisms out and
so
everything slides in, and you
so
can
I
make like
will say I've used those systems before. They are good because you can make different layers and depth and everything and customize it. The downside is because those are meant to be pulled out in whatever size you want, the more you are going in and out of that foam, like putting your tool back in and pulling it back out,
Mhm.
you will start to like tear that foam. You're almost better off, and I know this sounds weird, but either buying higher end compression foam and then tracing your
Like cut,
tool and cutting it out, or
yeah.
if you want, and here's kind of a cheaper kind of ghetto way to do it, you can buy kickboards from like a pool supply or like Amazon, like kids kickboards, and those are actually
Oh.
perfect foam that don't cost a ton, and you can cut it on your table saw and then cut it to size and then trace out your tools and use those.
Dude, well, hitting the
pool
pack
noodle
out kit with the
hack.
boogie board, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Like the pool noodle hack. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that.
Ah,
So
that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I was on the fence because I'm not afraid to spend the time to trace out every tool. You know, hit it with
Yeah.
a razor blade, whatever. But honestly, this one was so dang cheap for
Yeah.
as much foam as I got. I was like, I'll give it a whack. But I don't know. I haven't played with it too much yet.
it
Actually, for my chisels, I still have them in like the original plastic thing that came in. You know, like it was
Yeah.
like molded plastic. I just got like the 3-pack of Stanleys
sure.
from Lowe's,
Yeah,
and they've saved my butt,
dude,
Yeah, I think-
those are decent chisels. I have that same set. I think I have a
those too.
4-pack. They're great.
Yeah.
If you take care of them, those are great chisels for the money.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't worry about like messing them up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other part because they're the Stanley or the Cobalt brand.
This is Stanley.
Okay. If you wanted to, because they're still on holiday clearance, you can buy the Cobalt version of those. And the only reason I would tell you to do that versus the Stanley version is they are lifetime warranty. So if they ever get messed up or whatever, you bring it back and you're like, this one's broken or totally janky, they'll give you a new one.
Oh, cool.
So
That's a good nugget.
yeah. Yep.
My Snugget is along with what we're talking about. Made me think of it. So I have slowly but surely, when we started the shop, we were using my tools a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been working on my house, so it's been like this back and forth. And so like I bought some tools for the shop and taken mine back, and bought some tools for the shop and taken mine back little by little. And we've talked about go bags
Yep.
many times on this shop. So I don't care what brand you buy, but like Husky, whatever brand it is, Husky's got some really nice tool bags.
Mm-hmm.
They've got like this one, and I'm kind of the ones that I don't like the tool bag to fold. I like it to all be open.
Yeah.
Like a million little pockets on the inside and a million little pockets on the outside.
Yep.
No matter where you go, no matter what you do, you should always have this go bag. And it would have things like, you guys can add to this, a set of chisels, a razor knife, the little thing that blinks that finds a wire.
Yeah.
Touch it to the wire.
Yep.
A wire, like a voltage tester.
Yep.
Yeah.
Set of
I've heard a
screwdrivers.
lot of shit about those.
A set of screwdriver, a square, like just a simple combination square.
A flush cut saw.
A little flush cut saw, some extra pencils, a couple rolls of blue tape.
Yes. CA glue.
Popsicle sticks.
CA glue, a nail set, a hammer that just stays in that bag. That hammer never leaves that bag. Things like that. Crescent wrench.
Yeah.
A couple sizes of crescent wrenches. So
Set
no
of
matter
drill
what
bits.
happens,
Wire
a set of drill
Yep.
bits, a set of like extra drill driver bits, like Phillips and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Just like this whole, you don't want to make it too heavy.
No.
Because then you're not going to want to carry it.
Mm-hmm.
But like maybe you don't even hardly ever use it, but it just stays in your truck. And then you're like, dang it, I need a little more blue tape, or my last Phillips snapped, or and then you should always have a skill saw of some type on you, and whether it's battery powered, and a buzzy. I swear to God, never leave without a buzzy. And in Florida, you never leave without a hammer drill and some sort of tap cons or something, because in Florida, you never know when you're going to have to drill into concrete.
Yeah.
So, because we have plaster and masonry a lot. So, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oscillating cutter?
Yeah, I have a talking point on the buzzy, on the oscillating cutter. So when I was buying my Black Friday deal on the Milwaukee, right, I got to choose one extra tool, and I was really heartbroken between the buzzy or the rotary tool. I didn't get the buzzy, no.
You got the rotary tool.
Buzzy or the rotary tool. What's the rotary tool? More like a Dremel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know what it is.
And for what I'm doing,
did you get the bits yet?
Did you buy the bits?
I still haven't got the bits yet. But I was like, oh, I got a rotary tool. Wait, I don't have the bits. I feel like an idiot. But I threw a few in there. I meant to make another kit for it, but whatever. Because like I was like sitting there thinking, for what I'm doing, I have
the rotary
awesome Japanese saw.
Yes.
That I got it from a big box store where the handles fold back around
Yep.
and cover up the teeth. It's really awesome. I think it cost
Okay.
me close to $40.
Never seen.
But and also the teeth on like the ripping side taper, right? So
Yeah.
it's a smaller TPI, like tooth per inch, closer to the handle, and then bigger on the end. So yeah,
Wow.
and it's cool. So I was like, for most of the stuff I'm doing, like if I had to choose like between a Buzzy rotary, I'd rather have the rotary tool because like I can do a lot of the stuff I would do with a Buzzy with a Japanese saw.
Yeah.
Like I'm not talking about punching holes in walls and stuff, but
Yeah.
like as far as like if I'm gonna cut something off, like I'd rather just
Yeah, I'm more of
Japanese
the Japanese or flush cut saw guy myself.
However,
I
I
find
use the heck out of my Buzzy in my shop, but
I'm always cutting holes in the back of cabinets. So like,
Oh,
Buzzy
yeah,
is
that's
the
perfect,
greatest
yeah.
thing for me ever.
it
that's fair.
you know, it's interesting based on the three varieties of work that we do,
Yeah.
how
it's very-
different our pack outs might be.
Mine used to be more like yours, Ross. Like I used to be more like exactly what you're doing,
Hmm.
and I haven't done too much furniture repair.
Okay.
But
Mine looks like a arts and crafts kit.
Now
We got
mine's
popsicle
kinda-
sticks and crayons.
yeah,
And,
mine's more
and
like
paint.
going into like. I mean, the construction stuff's going on, but it's always like I got to pull out a sink or I got to like
Yeah.
wire an oven or
So
put a
you need a-
dishwasher in.
You need like a massive set of like
Yeah,
monkey
there's,
wrench
like-
kind of thing in there.
There's just a set of Allen wrenches. By the way, that should be in everybody's because you got to fix your tools, like your air guns get messed
yeah.
up. Everybody should have a nice set of Allen wrenches too.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Well, Colton, I think I want to save the whiskey for next week when we bring it back
Yeah.
to a normal week. But I think this is a really good spot to close things out. Is there anything else you guys want to cover?
Man, that wraps it up for me, brother.
I mean, I don't tell dad jokes that often, but when I do, he laughs.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we're excited for him. To all the listeners out there, we hope you enjoyed every second of this episode. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you didn't like every second of this episode, please send all your complaints to our full endowment Jamaican-based legal representation at Shakespeare and Payne Legal Partners, where their motto is, you call that an alibi? This coming from the guy who makes a midnight run to the video store and comes back with Booty Call and the Lion King. Wrap it up, son. Jess, Colton, Ross, this has been the Beat Around the Bench podcast. We will catch you all next time.
Woo!
See ya.